Abawashte.
Wadje, everybody.
I'm Kairyn Potts.
My name is Scott Wabano.
And welcome to the Real Rank Podcast.
Let's get rank.
Oh my God. Okay, so episode 2.
Episode 2 again. Episode 2.
I'm so excited. Episode 2. I feel like this is going to be a little bit more of an iconic episode because we're talking about some pretty spicy things today.
I know. I feel like it's a hot topic for sure in the Native community right now. And I feel like there's a lot of conversations we're seeing online, but I feel like there's not a lot of like podcasts talking about it really. It's really kind of problematic. A little bit.
It is, yeah. And I feel like people are scared to talk about it. But that's why nobody talks about it.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because it's a problem that affects our community for sure. And I feel like it's something we should be talking about more often. I don't know why we're too scared to talk about it, but
let's talk about it.
All right. Okay, so what's the topic?
Oh, well, before we even get into that, I want to know, what's your current obsession?
Oh, yes. Okay. Current obsession is Jersey Shore. I've been rewatching Jersey Shore again. I watched the first 2 seasons of the regular Jersey Shore, and now I'm watching Jersey Shore Family Reunion. And damn, they look so crazy now. But I feel like that's how I'm going to be.
Maturing is realizing they were all like super toxic and like crazy. And we like normalized it.
And it's kind of crazy because I remember watching it when I was a teenager. And I feel like when I rewatching it again, I'm just like, oh shit, maybe that's why I was like such a toxic person in some of the relationships I've had in the past.
You're still toxic.
I mean, but I'm not swinging anymore.
Oh. Just getting swung on.
Totally. I've never swung on anybody.
For the record. No, I remember I was watching like probably like 3 or 4 episodes with you and seeing Sammy and Ronnie.
Oh my God.
Like at the time I was just like, oh, they're annoying. And I was like low-key mad at Sam too sometimes. But then now that I'm like, this is like 16 years later that I'm watching it, I'm like, and I've been in relationships, I'm an adult now. I'm like probably 8 years older than they were when they filmed it.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, how did the producers even let that kind of abuse be filmed? Why didn't anybody step in? These were kids.
That's great. I know. That's exactly what I was saying. They were like 23, 21, 22.
And watching them like physically beat each other up, watching her scream and shriek and cry and like beg him not to like flip tables in front of her. He would be like, oh, she's texting a guy, I'm gonna go be a creep on the boardwalk, and he'd like go fuck girls to like spite her.
And I fucking hate saying this, but it's literally like relationships I've seen in the res growing up, like with my brothers and like my sisters. Unfortunately, shout out to them.
Real awful shout out.
I'm just kidding. But no, not only them, but like I feel like just like relationships like that were just so normalized in the res, unfortunately. And I feel like that's also one of the main reasons why a lot of Indigenous teens really gravitated towards Jersey Shore at the time, because they were like, damn, this is like what we grew up with, you know? So I think that's why there was like this, I don't know if you've noticed, but I noticed there's like a lot of Indigenous people who've watched Jersey Shore and like grew like a love for it, you know, or just like felt connected to it. And I always thought maybe that's why, because there's like similar traumas that we've had in our communities and on the show.
Absolutely.
Sorry guys, there was an ambulance or a siren. I don't know can you tell the difference between an ambulance, a police, and a fire truck siren? Because I know people who do. I can't.
No, they all traum me out equally. I get hypervigilance and I get scared. So no. But yeah, no. So what I was saying is like, absolutely, Jersey Shore was definitely a home run in the Indigenous community. Mm-hmm. I remember setting an alarm every Thursday to watch it at 7 p.m. Jersey. Oh my God. It was so, I would watch Jersey Shore and then immediately after I'd watch Vampire Diaries. And I remember being obsessed with it. And it's exactly what you said. It's like a lot of the same patterns. It's like intergenerational cycles of abuse and violence that are passed down and that we're exposed to. I mean, I don't think, and this is going to be really crazy to say on a podcast especially, but I don't know if I've seen really any healthy relationships like romantic relationships in my family growing up. I don't think I saw one. And there was a lot.
No, I can agree. I mean, not with your family, but with I relate to that.
It's crazy though to think about that. I'm like, I just thought it was normal that they would like throw cups at each other and lock each other out and pull each other's hair and like cheat on each other and like scream and yell and call each other names and break up every 2 weeks. And like that to me was normal.
Yeah.
And I definitely brought that with me into like growing up, becoming an adult and starting to like date and actually starting to like be interested in people. I normalized some of that behavior. So if like a partner was getting like really jealous or controlling or like a kind of like borderline abusive to me, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like, he loves me. This is how I know he loves me. And I'm like, whoa, no. Like now that I'm much older, I'm just like, wow, that's terrible. And so I wonder how much young people have like internalized that and been like, oh, we see this in our regular life and now we're seeing it in one of the biggest shows of all time, biggest reality shows of all time. Is this really how real life is supposed to be? Because that's all they see. Yeah. It's really sad.
No, I definitely agree. I feel like it's definitely impacted my relationships growing up. And yeah, just like as I matured and kind of grew up and just kind of reflecting on that and being like, oh, the reason why I acted like this in these relationships was because I was exposed to A, B, and C, you know? But yeah, anyways, enough about my obsession.
So that's your obsession?
Yeah, just dives into a whole deep
holy fuck, I'm just crying.
Just trying to, wait, I need to take a break. I need to call my therapist. Yeah.
You don't have one. That's why we're in this
it's Creator. Yeah.
Okay, Creator, stop listening to you. Creator leaves you on red.
He just puts you on mute. Do not disturb.
Your prayers go to Creator's request bin.
I'm dead. The spam folder.
Speaking of spam, just kidding. Now I'm hungry.
Oh my god.
No, okay. So my current obsession is Tia Wood's debut EP, Pretty Red Bird. So fucking good. Listen, for those who don't know, Tia was a really good friend of ours, like one of our bros, one of our family members, and being able to be there before Tia was like making music and seeing the whole process from like literally the minute it was like started, its infancy, to now it's like toddler learning to walk, and then it's building up to this like debut big album, and now we're getting to see an EP, which is her first like IP. It's her first like thing that she's actually put out, and seeing what a great response she's been getting and watching her go to sessions and hearing her record these songs. It's just been so amazing. It's just been, I don't know how to explain it, but watching somebody else's dream literally come true in front of you and getting to see all the hard work that goes behind it is humbling. It's inspiring. It's exciting. It's a little bit scary.
It makes me emotional, man. Just even you talking about it right now, I'm like, oh my God, yeah. Like, it makes me really proud.
Because you know how much she wants it, you know? And I know how much she wants it and how there's literally nothing else I could imagine her doing.
Yeah. No,
it's like her path.
She was born to do this. She was literally a born superstar.
And the road has been paved for her by her family. Obviously, she comes from just this family of like superstars. So there's no surprise that she's thriving. But being able to be so close to the magic while it happens has been truly like a privilege, definitely an honor, and that's my obsession. I really like the song Sky High.
Do you know the dance yet?
Fuck no.
Are you gonna learn the dance?
No, it's not that I don't want to learn it. I probably can't.
I've been trying. I feel like I only know like that one part.
Holy fuck, I don't know if you guys heard that, but his elbow just literally dislocated. We call Scott Bones, and every time Scott moves, he rattles. I don't know why, he's just real bony.
I'm like not even bony, but like I am bony. Like
yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. I've never seen somebody who looks like you that's just like you're just bony, and it's hard to explain. You just give off like that's Bones, Cindy. Remember Scary Movie? And she's like, "You're running from Bones." That's Bones, Cindy. That's what Scar reminds me.
That's literally me.
Look, he crazy now. She puts his head on his groin. That's literally me and you.
I was literally gonna say, that's literally me and your fucking friendship. You're Cindy and I'm Brenda.
Brenda Potts, Cindy Wabano. Or other way around, sorry.
Cindy Potts, Brenda
Cindy
Wabano.
Potts. Oh
my god! Did you see that they're coming out with a new scary movie?
I don't know if that's gonna be like, I've never, first of all, no, but
yeah, well, honestly, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've been seeing it circulating on Twitter and all social media, actually.
I don't know if that's gonna be like welcomed. Like because I always say, like, if Scary Movie was released today, no way it would do as well as it did.
Very problematic.
It would not be a cult classic. It would be canceled. There would be like so many TikToks about how awful it is. I don't even think it would make it past production.
Yeah.
It was too much. But at the time, with shows like White Chicks and like literally every movie that came out, even Mean Girls, like all those movies that came out around that time, those like teen, raunchy, comedy, whatever, coming of age stories, like Not Another Teen Movie, all of those were just like parodies and satires picking on the genre and just being super racist.
Did you see the new Mean Girls that was released and how they kind of like revamped it to kind of fit into today's generation? No. I feel like that might be something that they do.
Was it good?
It was a musical. Let's start there, which I don't mind musicals.
I like musicals.
I like musicals.
I like good musicals.
Good musicals, yes. Cats, love. I'm just kidding.
Holy fuck.
James Corden and Cats, love.
T Swift and Cats, love.
I fucking did. No, but yeah, like if I feel like if Scary Movie was gonna go down that route where they kind of made but I don't know, like that's the thing, I don't think it would even be the same as all the other scary movies, even if they like revamped the humor or like tried to fit it into this generation's time.
Isn't there like 4 scary movies?
Apparently, I think there's like 5.
Yeah, that's too many. Yeah. I mean, I love them, they're great, but like leave it alone. It's done what it needs to do. It was an iconic era of time. Let it sit in that era and just humbly bow out.
Yeah.
And be what it is. You don't need to revamp it. I hate how people are always constantly redoing the same content because they know there's already an audience waiting for it. It's like a sure sell. And it has like marketing already from before. Like, no, I'm not into it. Leave it alone. I don't think you could replicate unless Brenda and Cindy came back to the show and like reprised their roles.
I know, if it was Regina Hall and
Anna Faris,
that's the only time I will ever watch it.
I don't know if they would, though.
I don't think they would.
That's crazy. Anyway, that's my obsession. Holy, just half an hour of just the intro.
Talking about our obsessions.
Oh, also, what are you wearing today?
Oh, okay. So today I'm wearing the new Section 35 collection. We got the nice, cute pants.
That's button-up
shirt. I'm also wearing this chain that I stole from Kai's jewelry collection. I think it was made by Pishan Bread.
No, actually, Pishan didn't make this, but Pishan bought this for me at the Santa Fe Indian Market from Ugly Wolf Designs.
Oh, work.
Yeah.
Love that. And then
Thank
I'm wearing...
Pishan.
Yeah, thank you, Pishan. It's mine too. And I'm wearing these earrings. I honestly don't know who the beadworker is, but they were gifted to me by my Aunt Doreen. Shout out to my Aunt Doreen during my birthday this past year, which was really sweet of her. And yeah, that's it.
Who are the bugs by?
Oh, the bugs are by you. By you. I was knit freezed before I moved in.
What am I wearing? I'm wearing, so first of all, the statement piece is the jacket. I got this jacket in New York at All Saints. And it's kind of funny because I go to All Saints quite often, and I didn't realize that when you go there and you see a piece with a tag on it that's black, it means it's like exclusive, like one of a kind, and they only make like 10 of them. And this was one of those where it was like the last one and they had only made 10, and I was like, it's beautiful, I gotta get it. You know what my mistake was? Not looking at the price tag.
Oh yeah, no, All Saints is a little pricey.
I went to check out, I bought a whole outfit. I bought these pants, I bought this, I bought a t-shirt, and I bought boots.
Okay,
Girl.
so the price. We ain't shy around here.
3,500.
Okay.
I wanted to throw up, cry, run out of the thing screaming. But you know what?
That's
you know when you're in those
rent.
That's not even rent. That's sad. We live in Toronto. It's not even rent. But you know when you're like in a lineup of a bunch of people and you've been shopping for like an hour and then you like get a bunch of stuff and you bring it to the front and people are like ringing you up and they're like already putting it in bags and then you see the total?
Yeah.
I literally had to be like, 1 sec, I gotta call my bank because I didn't even have enough limit that day to be able to spend that much because I'd already spent so much in New York. I'm like, I don't even think I can spend this much money. Like, let me go and tell my bank and see if it's okay.
Increase your limit.
Yeah, I had to increase my limit. So anyway, yeah, that's literally why I wear this jacket almost every single day because I'm trying to get my money's worth.
It's a beautiful jacket. I love All Saints.
Yeah. And so that's kind of who I'm wearing. Also, these earrings are from you. Who made these earrings?
Oh, yeah. I got those earrings from Ramona Wabano, who is from the Cree Nation of Sasabi and Iuishji.
Shout out Sasabi. Love.
Shout out Ramona.
Yeah. And so that's the fit. Okay. So let's get into this topic. This is pretty hot button. You know when like Wendy Williams goes like, hot topic.
This is the hot topic of Indian country today.
That's how I feel. I think that anytime there's any like controversy, or it's like one of the most, I think, talked about thing on social media specifically, which is where all Indians go to like discuss what's going on in the community. It's like our hub, especially Facebook.
Facebook First Nation.
Facebook First Nation. Shout out. But yeah, so what are we talking about?
So today we're going to talk... It's really such a I even hate the word. We're talking about pretendians today, y'all. And I feel like this is a topic that affects everywhere, all across the globe. Doesn't even matter what culture, and not even only Indigenous people. It affects all BIPOC cultures across the world. But we're going to be talking specifically about pretendians. So people who pretend to be Indigenous, pretend Indian, pretendians, Defendians. Descendians. Yeah, there's like so much terms now.
Yeah, so for our viewers who don't know what the heck that is.
Yeah, what's a pretendian?
So for you listeners who are unaware, pretendian is this new term that's been coined going around to describe individuals who are non-Indigenous that race shift or fraudulently identify themselves as being Indigenous. And they genuinely do this to attain things like finances, funding. You see it a lot with people trying to get jobs, grants. They do it for networking. They do it for romantic relationships. And they do it for clout sometimes and for just opportunities. Pretty much any opportunity that like advances them that they wouldn't have been able to get if they weren't Indigenous. And often it stems from people claiming that they're Indigenous based on, oh, my grandpa told me stories about his mom being Cherokee or whatever. So, we've never met her, but I just know that I'm Indigenous. And so that's kind of it. They just self-identify and people take it at the face value. They believe it. And it allows these people access to things that they would never have access to if they just told the truth and said that they were white or non-Indigenous. It's not just white people that are doing it. There's Asian people doing it. There's a bunch of people that are doing it that are not Indigenous. And so that's what a pretendian is.
Yeah.
It's just a fraudulent Indigenous person. It's usually a white person. And it's a phenomenon, really. I would say it's like an epidemic happening in Ontario specifically. You don't see much of because I said, I'm from Alberta. I'm from the West Coast. You don't see a ton of it in the West Coast. At least I grew up there, over 25 years or so. And it just really wasn't like a thing that we kind of like knew about. And so maybe let's talk about that. Like, what are some of the most famous cases of pretendians that have been documented, that have been outed, that have been like community public discussion?
Well, I feel like that CBC one with Buffy St. Marie, Beverly Santa Maria that just came out. I feel like that was like the biggest one that kind of affected and rocked a lot of people, like really affected their views on Buffy. Also, like because Buffy was such a big icon and such a trailblazer in Indigenous representation and being that voice in spaces that we were never really invited in, you know? And she kind of opened up that door, I guess you could say, but she's kind of like the biggest case right now in Canada. And it's also a very, like, a little problematic too, because I've heard that Piapot also claims her.
Well, there's a family from Piapot that claims her, but even the chief has asked her to do a DNA test.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I don't know. What I have to say about that is that one broke my heart. That one really, really upset me. That one gave me anxiety. It made me feel lied to. It's like somebody came and grabbed the rug from under me without letting me know. It was just startling, confusing. I was hurt because Buffy, I grew up in Treaty 6 where Buffy claims she's from, and I grew up in the Plains and I grew up in Cree culture, and we had so many moments in my house where Buffy was playing on the radio all the time, and Buffy was like kind of a staple, and then also going to our round dances every single season and hearing people take Buffy's songs and turn them into round dance songs. We're literally dancing and celebrating Buffy's music. And I just remember, because I lost both of my moms at a really young age, I remember looking up to Buffy as an auntie or a mother figure because she was the most famous Native person that we knew. And she was just doing huge things. And she just had this inviting, warm presence about her that really reminded me a lot of my matriarchs in my family. And so, and there was even a situation where my partner Jory, who's an incredible beatwriter,
yeah, this situation broke my heart too.
He loves Buffy, and Jory is Cree from Saskatchewan, right around where Buffy's from, or Buffy claims that they're from. And so he loves Buffy even more than I do. And so much so that he decided he wanted to honor Buffy by beading a bag, this really cute handmade side bag, fully beaded with like hair on it and feathers and these like elk teeth. And the design of the bag was identical to Buffy's guitar strap. And for those of you who don't know, Buffy's guitar strap burned up in a fire. And so she lost this like prized guitar strap with this really unique Indigenous design on it. That same design was used on the album art for her album Up Where We Belong, which is one of her most famous albums. It's like the border of her album. And so he decided to use that design and create this really cute bag. And he created this bag and he recorded himself doing it. And he put it online and talked about Buffy and just like sang her praises and was like, Buffy's an icon, Buffy's a trailblazer, Buffy is this, Buffy's that, like all these great things. The video did really well. Anyway, CBC reached out to Jory and was like, hey, we know Buffy. And we love this so much. We want to help you send this bag to Buffy if you want to give it to her. And so, of course, he's like, yeah. I was like, hello, I'm going to send this bag to Buffy. And so they did. And Buffy received it and was nice enough to record a 4-minute, it was literally 4 minutes of like a video reaction to her opening it and seeing it for the first time and receiving it. And she said, thank you. And she gave this really personalized message to Jory and was like, this means a lot to me. Like Kanana Skumtin, like speaking Cree to him. And like, it was really, I cried twice watching the video. I know Jory cried. I was there with him watching it. It was a really big moment. We felt seen by Buffy. And she was exposed as a pretendian like less than 2 months later on CBC.
It's crazy.
That's the real kicker, is that it happened. Literally, CBC was working on the documentary while this was happening. Like, you couldn't give us a heads up.
I remember even on Facebook First Nation, before that CBC documentary came out, there was like this Facebook status going viral and being like, this ominous status about like, oh, there's a big prominent figure in Native Indigenous community who is actually not Indigenous. Like the story is going to be coming out. It's heartbreaking. It's like a big name, like
the biggest one yet.
Yeah, it was. I remember seeing that and was like, ooh.
Just excited.
I'm here for the tea, but like it's crazy. I don't know. I feel like it's also like a mental illness sometimes. In some cases, I'm not saying all pretendian cases are all mental illness related, but I feel like there are some individuals who are unfortunately, you know, very mentally ill when it comes to their Indigenous identity.
They definitely struggle with feelings of belonging. They cling to fabricated stories and start to, I think, convince themselves and believe them enough that they start to actually think that they're true, which is pathological. And I, like you said, it's not all of them. Because I know of genuine individuals in my life who had claimed being Indigenous up until a certain point and then found out without a shadow of a doubt that they're not Indigenous and have been like, oh, I guess I'm not. Sorry. Like, my bad, y'all. I thought that I was. And I know that I'm not now. And it was cleared up. So I'm not saying that I am anymore. Yeah. And it's like, good. Yeah. Thanks for doing that. But then there are people who like will have evidence shown to them and have evidence told to them, and they will ignore it. They will choose not to believe it. And they will sit with this own version of events that they've created and continue to check that box in applications that says I'm Native American. And they will happily take that honorarium. They'll happily accept that job. They will happily accept that acting role, knowing that they're not. Yeah. And that's just wrong. And at that point, you just like don't have morals. And
it's crazy.
And I don't think that they really recognize that they're literally taking money out of the hands of Indigenous people. And a lot of that funding was created to help people who are survivors of intergenerational trauma. That's why there is affirmative action. That's why there's so many of those opportunities that are going out there, is because they're trying to create equity and they're trying to reconcile, I'm using air quotes, reconcile the relationship that's happened between Indigenous peoples and this country. And so for a white person who's saying, yeah, I'm Métis, I'm, you know, Cree, Ojibwe, Mi'kmaq, and they list like 20 nations, they don't have that trauma. No. They don't have said trauma of which this funding and these opportunities are there to directly combat. And so that to me just seems like the ultimate betrayal. And so Buffy, was a major case, which really, if you guys haven't seen the documentary, go and see it. It's like CBC Archives or something. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but just type in CBC documentary Buffy and you'll see some pretty damning evidence. I was still on Buffy's side going into watching the documentary because I'm like, say it ain't so. Like, how could the first Indigenous woman on TV, the first woman to breastfeed on Sesame Street, and like the first Indigenous Oscar winner, like this mega superstar who has been a household name in Indigenous country for literally decades, how could she be a pretendian? And then I watched it, and I'll just say I'm very intelligent. I make my own decisions based on the evidence provided, and that was pretty damning. And it changed my mind. And it took me about 4 days for me to start processing all the emotions. At first it was shock, confusion. And then it turned into denial. No. Like literally all 5 stages of like grief. And then it was anger. And I was like, I felt mad. I felt like, give back all of your Junos. Give back that Oscar. You have literally taken these away from somebody who genuinely could have won them. And that feels wrong to me. And people are like, what do you expect her to do? Give back her awards? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one was really crazy. And I feel like you've seen it all over social media, how much it really affected a lot of people, because like you mentioned, you know, Buffy was that big Indigenous representation.
She was everybody's auntie.
Yeah, she was everybody's auntie. You know, she was that person that everybody's seen on their TV growing up and kind of gave us representation in a time where we didn't even have representation, you know, and really kind of opened doors for other Indigenous folks like ourselves to kind of walk into. So it's like, yeah, it was very, very crazy, you know, I honestly, like, I'd never really listened to Buffy growing up. I was mostly listening to like the Eagles and like Dixie Chicks and stuff. But I've never really knew her name up until I like came to Toronto and started learning more about Indigenous art and like, you know, prominent Indigenous figures within our communities, and seeing the type of work that she'd done, and really being like, oh, damn, like she's a true trailblazer for a lot of Indigenous folks, specifically within the arts, you know. And I remember just Indigenous legend. Yeah. And like, yeah, when that came out, I was shooketh, you know, because like it's just, I still just think it's crazy to me that people want to pretend to be Indigenous. And I remember just being a kid, you know, growing up in a time where it wasn't cool to be Indigenous, you know. Like I remember, like I grew up like dancing powwow and like going to ceremony and stuff like that when I was living in Moose Factory. And then when I moved to North Bay for grade 8, I remember that's when I stopped powwow dancing. I stopped going to ceremony, and I just wanted to stop being Indigenous because I seen how we were always discriminated against. We were always being bullied. You know, we were getting into fights. We were getting jumped. You know, it was just very dangerous for us to be Indigenous. And I remember like even like dyeing, the one time I ever dyed my hair in my life, I dyed it like a light brown color because I was like, oh, I don't want black hair. Like I want to seem a little bit more white passing, although I was a very resi kid.
I don't think you've ever been white passing in your entire life.
As much as I tried to be, I couldn't, you know. I was just a res Cree kid, you know. It was like really hard to not tell. And I remember feeling like I didn't want to be Indigenous, you know, and like doing so many things that kind of like just made me not be Indigenous or put me in that box, you know, because I didn't want to be discriminated against. I was already struggling being in the closet as like a two-spirit non-binary person. So like to have to deal with like being Indigenous in a white society and like a white city, you know, it was hard. And it's just like crazy to me now to think like, damn, like the time, like I used to be so ashamed of being Indigenous, and there's people who are like wanting to be Indigenous and just faking it and just like basing their whole lives around it. Like I don't know, it just makes me feel very like very sad, honestly, like very sad for those people. Very sad for me as a like younger Scott when he was like struggling to be like Indigenous and didn't want to be Indigenous, you know. Like it's just really just such a sad situation, and it's just like a baffling situation to even wrap my head around. Like and like I mentioned, it doesn't even happen only in Indigenous cultures too, because when this issue started coming out, like we have a lot of friends who are like multicultural and who come from different nations, and I remember a lot of, you know, Black friends coming out and saying, oh yeah, there's like people who claim to be mixed as well, like mixed Black and mixed Afro-Indigenous.
Rachel Dolezal?
Yeah, remember that? Yeah, that was a crazy one too. And see, like it doesn't only happen in Indigenous nations, it happens across all BIPOC cultures across the world. And it's just like, you know, like why, you know, like when you could just be such an amazing ally and like, you know, use your voice for good and help use your platform or whatever you have to help uplift other Indigenous folks or present them with other Indigenous opportunities, but they just siphon it for themselves, you know. It's just very icky. And like you could automatically tell, to be honest, in my opinion, because if you look at an authentic Indigenous person, you will see like everything that we do revolves around community, you know, like we have accountability to community, like we, you know, really love our community and support it and want to uplift it. But if we look at these other people who pretendians, you know, it's very selfish and just very serving themselves basically.
Totally. Basically, you ain't gotta lie to kick it.
No, you don't need a lie. Like
you can just be a cool white person who's like down with the res. Mm-hmm. Like, you know how many white people grow up on res?
Oh my God, yes.
Like in the res. And every nation has that one like white family who's just like, they're cool. They can hang, you know?
Me.
But they never try to be Indigenous.
Yep.
And they even get gifted like regalia, and they come to the powwows and they dance, and like they're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
You can be a part of the community without saying that you're an actual Indigenous person. You can just be a fan. You can even get adopted in. There's people that are adopted in that have like spirit names and who like are really a part of like communities, like Indigenous communities, but they will never be Indigenous themselves, and that's okay.
I remember growing up in North Bay, going to high school on the reserve there. I went to high school, Nabizing Secondary School. Shout out to Nabizing. And one of my favorite teachers at that school, his name was Alex Armstrong. And he was actually non-Indigenous, but he was like adopted in at a very young age to this Anishinaabe family and carried a lot of the teachings and had like, you know, a spirit name and had all of these like things that he carried. But he was always so like, I'm not Indigenous, you know, like I was just adopted and raised with this family. And this is the teachings that they like, he was very transparent about that, you know, and I feel like in that circumstance, I was like, it was more respectful, you know, like he was very respected in North Bay and in the Nipissing First Nation territory. And like everybody knew him as Uncle Alex, you know, like I still have like so much love for him because he was like really just like prominent in my development stages, you know, and really ingrained in me like a lot of, because he taught my Indigenous issues class. So I took that class in high school and learned about all the Indigenous issues that we face here in so-called Canada. And yeah, just like was really so empowering and so inspiring and really just encouraging. And but he also was not Indigenous, you know, but he was also just like a really cool ally and supporter. And he was also very like, he was just real sacred too, you know, but yeah, I just like, I think of people like that and, you know, I have respect for them. And I'm like, you know, you can be non-Indigenous and be a part of the community. It's just being transparent about it, you know, and having respect for your community members and, you know, respect for those teachings and the elders that are sharing this knowledge, you know, and not exploiting it for, you know, your own selfish gain.
Absolutely. I even think that as a community member, like our communities need that. And I think about the Cree teaching of Okutuin, which is like everyone is connected and all that kind of stuff. We need allies.
Yep.
They are a part of the circle just as much as we are. We need them in our communities because we thrive so much more when we have cooperation and we have people who can exist in spaces we can't, who have our best interests at heart and who are advocates for us and who champion our causes who are non-Indigenous. That is so important. And I feel like a lot of people don't remember that. So shout out to all you whiteys out there who are just so cool, who don't feel the need to speak over Indigenous people, but who stand side by side with them and link arms with them and help them in their fight. I think about my manager.
I was literally just going to say, when I think about people like that, I think about Tara, you know, oh, lovely Tara Beans.
Shout out Tara Balls.
Shout out Tara. We love you.
She's amazing. Yeah, she really totally exemplifies to me what being able to be in these spaces, like, because she's in a lot of Indigenous spaces just by proximity and, you know, because of her work with Manitoba and like being one of those people who reaches out to community members to collaborate with them and bring opportunities to Indigenous people and just work in collaboration. I think that's the main key word is collaboration, not co-opting, not appropriating, not grabbing and taking. It's creating and helping foster. And so being able to see that in real time and working now with Tara for over 2 years, being able to really get to see that firsthand is really awesome because there's been so many times where Tara's had the opportunity to benefit a lot from like being really close with me and me teaching her tons and tons and tons of things about my culture, my community, hearing my stories. She could co-opt so many of these stories and start telling them for herself. And she just doesn't. And every time we hang out and we're doing like introductions and stuff in meetings, she's always like, hi, I'm a white settler ally. I live in this unceded territory. Like she's very kind of a person.
Yeah, she's so cool.
But not only that, she's proud of like her Celtic roots. That's what I think a lot of like white people in particular are just don't like. Of course you want to like latch on to like Ojibwe culture because you don't have culture. You just don't have it. And whether it's a fault of their own or not, whatever, but I've noticed even growing up with white people in rural Alberta and being like, oh, well, like, what are you? Like, I'm Native. What are you? And they're like, oh. And I'm like, so you don't know? And they're like, no, I think we're French, probably Irish, Polish, a little bit of German. Like, they're just like totally like every area in Europe, but really no cultural pride or no real exposure to culture.
Yeah.
They're just completely homogenized and they don't really care.
No, that's true.
But they start caring when they start seeing like, they'll see like powwow regalia and be like, that's beautiful. I want that. Or they'll see like anime and they'll be like, oh, I love this culture. Let me take a little bit of that. Let me start speaking Japanese. You see all that all the time with like white boys, even white girls.
I thought of Gwen Stefani during her Harajuku.
I call it buffet style appropriation.
Yeah.
Where they just go into a specific culture and they're like, I like that. No, a little bit of that. Oh, the trauma, don't want that.
Yeah.
Oh, a little bit of like
they just
intergenerational trauma gravy. Nope, don't want that. We're going to take the money. We're going to take the cool music. We're going to take the clothing. We're going to take the language. Like, we're going to take the land, like everything. And then they just leave out all the rest. And you see it at Coachella all the time. People wearing bindis and like henna and like all these stuff. Like,
oh my God, headdresses
to Coachella is crazy.
Frig, I remember literally, I thought we were kind of over this phase too. Like I thought, you know, because we're living in 2024, we're a little bit more aware and well, not everyone is, unfortunately, because I went to Mexico this past like April or March and I went to this music festival. And when I was there, there was two white guys wearing Indian headdresses. And of course, they're standing right in front of me too. And like, we're just like, you know, being typical like frat boy behavior and like very toxic masculinity. I also went to Mexico alone and I remember in that situation being like, okay, am I going to go there and like educate them about this and tell them that they're, you know, what they're doing is wrong, it's harmful. But I also thought like, but also are they in that mindset to even take that, you know, advice or take that knowledge that I was kind of giving them, you know, because some people will like, it's such a hit or miss, especially dealing with like men in that situation. Like I could have went and they could have been respectful and been like, oh, cool, you know, or they could have been like, fuck you and like faggot and beat the shit out of me. So like I remember feeling very awkward in that position and I remember I just left, you know, and was like just kind of had to protect my energy and remember going back to my Airbnb and just being like I was kind of upset at myself. I was like, damn, I should have said something, you know, and like should have told them, you know, what they're doing is very harmful. But at the same time, I was thinking, but it was also at a rave, you know, there was alcohol involved definitely with them. Like I could see their behavior and the drinks that they were holding. So I was like, you know, they just weren't in a space where I was able to give them that lesson or that education. But hopefully eventually they will learn it in some way, shape, or form, you know?
It's also not your job.
Yeah.
Your responsibility.
It's also not my job or its responsibility, to educate every single person that I'm coming in contact with. Like, I remember this one music festival I went to back in like 2014 or something. It was actually Il Sonic in Montreal. I went there and I remember I seen like maybe like 10 people wearing headdresses. And me being the super lit person I was, because I was at a rave, I was just, I don't even know how old I was. I think I was like 19 or something. Anyways, doesn't even matter, but
around snatching them.
That's what I was doing. I was going around and running to these people and grabbing their headdresses and taking it and running it away and just running and hiding it and just like stashing them everywhere. And then I think I did it to like 3 people, and then I was gonna do it to this other person, and then security seen it. And security stopped me and was like, hey, like, you can't be doing that. And I was like, I'm Indigenous. I was like, do you not know this is cultural appropriation? Like, really just going off. I was like, you don't even know, like, the significance of this? Like, as if you guys are allowing this. And I remember, because, like, the security guard, he was, like, a black guy. And he was like, you know, like, I understand where you're coming from. Like, I understand your intentions. Unfortunately, you just can't be doing that, you know? Like, I was like, well, you guys should ban it, you know? You guys should do something about this, because like I think that was around the time Coachella banned headdresses.
Coachella banned headdresses?
They did, yeah.
Damn,
and then lately, literally a year after, Il Sonic banned headdresses. And I like to say like I was part of that change because I was snatching headdresses off of everybody during that first year of the festival. But yeah, shortly after they banned headdresses, and it's kind of cool that they're festivals are starting to do that and realizing, you know, saying no to cultural appropriation and just really kind of protecting a lot of our sacred items, you know, in spaces that shouldn't really be having them. So yeah, I remember that was my experience with like dealing with stuff
little
like that.
Two-spirit snatcher.
Little two-spirit.
Not even snatching wigs, just snatching freaking headdresses.
Snatching wigs and headdresses, honey.
I love that. Also, for our listeners, you're going to hear us say Indian quite a bit.
Yeah, we're aware.
I say Indian. Here's the thing. I say Indian with my friends and my family and my community. It's not, it says on my status card that I'm a registered Indian under the Indian Act. So it's not us that gave us that name. And I know the whole story about like Christopher Columbus, India, whatever. But I say it now kind of in the way that I say queer.
Mm-hmm.
Queer used to be a really bad word. And now it's like, oh, we just say it. I say Indian in a funny way, usually. Most of the time, I'll be like, "Oh my God, you're such a big Indian." Like, I mean it as almost like a term of endearment. It's not meant to be like something really offensive, and I know it to offend some people, and that's fine. But I'm reclaiming that word because it's used in such bad ways, and I understand the context of it. But I also just like I use it with people I trust and people who know it's not a big deal. And we've kind of all accepted that it's not that big of a deal. You'll hear me say Indigenous, Native, Nietzsche, Indian. To me, it's like kind of all the same thing, really. So that's why when you hear I'm like, oh, there was Indians there. Like, I don't mean like East Indians. I mean like Nietzsche's. Like
my mom still says Aboriginal.
Yeah, that's old school.
My mom, yeah, she still uses Aboriginal peoples. And I remember like hearing her, like she was like talking to somebody and like talking about that. And I was like, oh, she still uses like Aboriginal. I was like,
but it's a generation
It's a generation thing. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, like I remember when we were called Aboriginals too. And
I don't hear old people saying Nietzsche that much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I say Nietzsche all the time.
Yeah.
I created Nietzsche clan, like, for frick's sakes.
I remember telling my mom too during that time, I was like, you know, we say like Indigenous now. And she's like, oh yeah, I know. It's just hard to like kind of, I was
well, your mom works in government.
Yeah.
And
they use
government like used Aboriginal for so many years.
And also she works in Quebec government too. So they use Aboriginal pretty often.
It's hard to get away from that jargon.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, I wanted to say, it's interesting that you brought up the fact that you like wanted to be white passing and
God, yeah.
You like dyed your hair a little bit because growing up it was really hard to be Indigenous. And as somebody like me who's mixed, I don't know what I'm mixed with really. Don't know who my dad is, but I get like I benefit from being ethnically ambiguous, and I definitely have proximity to whiteness. I wouldn't say that I'm like incredibly white passing, because even though I think sometimes I can pass as white, anytime I'm in a space with a ton of white people, I stick out as somebody that's of color or definitely isn't just white. I can't hang out with freaking the Brady Bunch and be like, yeah, I'm one of you. Like, I know that, so I'm not stupid. I have
sure,
self-awareness. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure, Kai. But I definitely do know that I have proximity to whiteness, wherein I'm not as dark-skinned as you, and I have curly hair, which like not a ton of like Indigenous people have the way that I have it. And I grow a full beard, which again, not a ton of like Indigenous men do that. And so I definitely do look Indigenous, but I also know that I could pass as a couple of things all kind of thrown together. So I use that as a tool in school, specifically in junior high and high school, because not many people know this, but although I did grow up speaking my Indigenous languages, I also started taking Chinese in grade 7, and I learned Chinese for 5 years and got really, really good at it, and hung out with mostly Asians because there was no native kids at my school, and I went to kind of a white school, and I just was accepted as like an Asian with all of these Asians. And they all weren't just like Chinese. They were like all kinds of Asians. But it was my crew, my little squad. And so I was always, always, always assumed to be Asian. And I allowed people to assume that I was Asian. And I wouldn't deny it when they would call me Asian, because being Asian was easier than being native.
So you're saying you were a pretendy Asian?
I was a pretendy Asian.
Oh my God.
It's embarrassing to admit, but it also I give myself some grace because I was literally a child. I was like 12, 13, and I was getting heavily bullied. And I came from a very poor inner city, like super resi Indigenous family, and there was no other Indigenous people at my school. And I could not have felt more out of place. Mm-hmm. And my presence there was already giving me anxiety. And so me being called dirty Indian or poor kid or like all these things, I just couldn't handle it. Yeah. I couldn't handle it because my entire pride, my identity at the time was that I was really good at school. I was always like straight A student, advanced placement, international baccalaureate. Like I was like really a smart kid, and I took all the extracurriculars. I was loved by all my teachers. So I couldn't have that identity of being the gross native kid. So I just allowed people to believe that I was Chinese or I was half Korean or I was like part Japanese, like whatever they wanted to call me. I was like, sure. Mm-hmm. But the reason I'm bringing this story up is because all of that was better than being perceived as Indigenous, which is what I was. And so that just reinforces your story of like, it was hard. It was hard. It was not cool. It never was cool. It was cool to us, mm-hmm. but it wasn't cool to the public.
Yeah.
And we knew we were. We didn't have to ever bring it up or say that we were, shove it in anyone's faces or like wave our, Indigenous flag high so people knew we were Native. Like it just is what we were. And growing up, I never felt I had to prove it or I had to be, ashamed of it. But then I started recognizing that people were being really mean and really awful and terrible about it. I saw my mom get treated like absolute. Just makes me feel so heavy when I think about the treatment that my mom had to go through, specifically in healthcare. Because especially in Canada, healthcare is notorious for being super racist to Indigenous people. Mm-hmm. And my mom was very visibly Indigenous. Mm-hmm. Residential school survivor of many years, just looks like your very quintessential Indigenous auntie. Older though, much older, in her 60s, and was in Cookham status at that point, mm-hmm. and was a sweet woman, but was very dark skinned and looked very like she could not get away with being anything but a Native woman. And it really didn't serve her well when she had to go and ask for help, when she was talking to nurses or doctors. And so I internalized that. I saw the way she was getting treated, mm-hmm. and I had to do what I needed to do to protect myself to get through school. Yeah. Because I remember there was one specific instance where I was hanging out with my friend. I'm not going to say her name, but she had a boyfriend and he was a skater boy. Like just this white skater boy. He was a skater boy. He was a skater boy. He was a racist skater boy.
God.
And she started dating him. She had this big crush on him. And she introduced him to me. And he straight up said, "Oh, you can't hang out with him anymore." And she's like, "This is my best friend. Why?" He's like, "I don't hang out with dirty Indians." Hmm. And I remember thinking like, oh, that's got to be a joke. Literally, that's the most like stereotypical thing to call a Native person. Like, oh, you're a dirty Indian. Mm-hmm. Like, no one actually says that. That's just like a joke, right? But no, he was serious. He was like, nope. He had this weird thing about like Native people. He just freaking hated them. And he didn't see me for anything other than like just this dirty Native. And I remember him telling my friend that and being like, you can't be friends with him because he's a dirty Indian.
Yeah.
And I remember being like so shocked.
That's crazy.
Like taken aback and being like, this can't be real. You can't actually feel that way. Like that's so archaic. Mm-hmm. I was like, come on. It's like, it's 2007. At the time I was like, we're so progressive. We're literally still dealing with this.
So 20 years later. 2008. So 2000 and late.
For real. And you know what's crazy is my friend didn't like, she kind of joked with him a little bit about it and like didn't really defend me because she just thought it was all.
Are you guys still friends?
I haven't really talked to her in like 7 or 8 years.
Oh, okay. I
haven't seen her probably in 10.
Completely off topic, but have you ever been called a wagon burner before?
Yeah, I've been called a wagon burner. 100%. I've been called dog eater because I'm Sioux. Oh. I've been called Chindian. That's one I got called probably the most was Chindian because they thought that I was Asian and Indigenous, so they'd call me Chindian, and they'd pull their eyes back, and they'd say like "ching ching chong," and like that's crazy. Is when you're getting like racism slung at you, and it's like not even the right racism,
and like, but that's so crazy too. Like, and let's not like dismiss the fact that racism still also happens in Indigenous communities too. Because when you brought that up, I immediately thought of Afro-Indigenous community people within our communities. And I have cousins who are Afro-Indigenous too. And, when they come to the res, they get bullied a lot.
And Native people say the N-word a lot.
They do. And they
hate it.
They think it's okay. It's not okay. They think because we face similar struggles and stuff like that, that it automatically assumes that, because we're in this battle together type of thing against white supremacy and colonization and all that stuff, that it's okay for them to say, but it's not, it's not your word. It's not your community. It's not who you are,
and you look stupid.
Yeah.
You look so stupid. And
you look stupid and racist.
Yeah. I call out my cousins. I have cousins from Paul Band who say it, and they say it so blasé. It's just a part of their everyday vernacular, and it's crazy. I'm like, you are appropriating Black culture with the way you dress, to the way that you talk, to the music that you listen to, and now you're saying the N-word, and you use it so with just everything. And oh, it's so cringy when even like 15, 16, 17-year-old girls are saying it because they want to look cool. They want to look hood. They want to look gangsta. And like, I see it so much, not even just in the res, but just like with like urban Indians too. It's like, why have we all become so comfortable saying that word? It's like gang mentality, trying to be cool. And I call it out immediately, mid-sentence. I'll cut you off mid-sentence. Don't say that.
Yeah.
And I've had cousins literally be like, shut up. It's not a big deal. I'm like, no, literally, do not say that. I'm going to leave. This is effed up. Like, I'm not going to sit here and let you say that. And they're like, well, I'm brown too. And, I get to pass. And I'm like, no, you don't get a pass. Who told you? Well, I have Black friends. I'm like, then you should know better. Do better. Like, it gets me so mad. And I feel like sometimes I'm one of the only people like trying to bring it up.
Yeah.
And like, I'm the odd one out. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Like, why do you always want to start problems?
You're such a social justice warrior just because you're an influencer. I'm like, no. Even before social media, I was like this. I was standing up for what I knew was wrong. And I'm sorry that your parents fucking failed you, or like someone let you think that it was okay to be racist, overtly racist. It's not going to fly. And I've noticed that in the community a lot. And it just makes me sick.
It's very prominent too, because even like when I was growing up in my family specifically, like my grandpa, my aunts, my uncles, like a lot of them were unfortunately very openly racist towards, Black and Afro-Indigenous folks, and
East Indians and Pakistani people.
Yep, even to this day, they're still very much like that, and they're not like aware of their actions, aware of their words, and not aware of their racism. And I'm usually always the one to call them out, and you're always branded as like, oh, why you want to say that, or like, why you want to stick up for them for, or
you're defending them, they're rapists.
Like, it's just very I unfortunately had to start distancing myself from my family for that, because it was just getting so much.
Blocking.
Yeah, like having to educate people all the time, and just getting too much, like, especially when they're like 40-year-old people, and like people like full grown ass adults, like I don't mind educating like my younger relatives who are, unfortunately not educated in these types of issues. But when it comes to people who are like 40 and like 50 and like pushing it, like I don't have time for that, like
it's easier to teach like children, because you're like, hey, you want people to treat you well, right? You need to treat other people well. They are just like you. Like they get it. It's like a simple concept. But then when it's people in the like 50s, 60s, 70s, I don't know if it's like residential school, like intergenerational trauma, if it's obviously like a generational thing, but where they just feel unable to receive that kind of criticism.
I don't even like to say it's about intergenerational trauma or residential school, because it doesn't only affect Indigenous people. Because if you look at the generation like all across, like white and like non-Indigenous people, they still have that mindset too, where they like, back in my day we didn't have this, and like they struggle with the concept of non-binary or two-spirit identities, like all of these things just are so new to them, and they don't want to open up their mind to learn new knowledge. They're just so ingrained in what they know and what they think is right. And it really prohibits a lot of movements, you know, and it really just, I don't know, delays a lot of the acceptance that we truly desperately need in a lot of our communities and in society as a whole, to be honest.
Absolutely. Okay, listeners, stop using the N-word. And when you hear your little cousin who's 15 rapping songs and saying the N-word to his friends, call him out. Call him out and be stern. It's a good anti-teaching. Stop it before it gets crazy, and let's do better as a community, as a big Indigenous community. Let's do better.
Mm-hmm.
So back on our topic. I've noticed with the introduction of social media and of followers, and especially that big boom that happened on TikTok of like native TikTok popping off like and making overnight influencers, I've noticed that's when I really was like, oh, pretendians are actually going to be a thing now, because suddenly it's in everybody's bio. Suddenly it's like Cree, Ojibwe, Mi'kmaq, Métis, Algonquin, Inuk. Like everybody is saying what they think they are or identifying themselves in their Instagram bios when it never was a thing. And now you like kind of have to, it feels like. I feel like forced to prove that I'm Indigenous. I have to be like Kai Pots.
Cree.
Like I have to like feel like I have to tell people this is who I am so they don't assume that I'm somehow faking my name, because I've been called out for being a pretendian before.
Oh my God. Yeah, I called you out. Just kidding.
Well, I've been called out twice then. Just kidding. No, but I've been called out before for being like a white boy who's just trying to act native for money. Like it was, what a wild, crazy accusation.
So crazy. You're literally like one of the resiest people.
I am the resiest. It's crazy. But yeah, so I've noticed that with all of the fame, and we're talking like not like fame, we're talking like Instagram, social media fame, which is a different kind of fame.
We're not getting paparazzi.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm not walking out of my house and like, oh, no pictures, please.
Actually, when I'm in a res, it
does feel like that. Actually, yeah.
There's like the odd time where you're like walking around a community or like grocery shopping in a community, and you'll see somebody and like just like an auntie or somebody, you know, taking a photo of you. That's the only time I get paparazzi to send a res.
The time we walked around in Clearwater, and two people like literally pulled off of the road and like came to the ditch where we were walking.
Jumped out of their vehicle.
Jumped out of the car while I was running, left their door open and their keys in their car, came running over to us just to get pictures with us.
Yeah.
It happened twice in like 2 minutes. And they were really sweet. And that's like, so let me clarify. There's a difference between being like mainstream famous and being like native famous.
Yeah.
Because native people are really good at championing their people.
Mm-hmm.
They will shout you out and like obsess over you and share you and gas you up. But they'll also cancel you immediately and criticize everything you do. So it's like really a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
They're very passionate. Let's just put it that way. They're very passionate. So they will love you hard and they will hate you hard.
Passion. Energy.
But when you go to like round dances, powwows, native events, then that's when you realize, oh, okay, maybe I am like kind of well known in this specific part of the internet.
Yeah.
Which translates to all of these native events. So if you're popular in native country, it's much different than being popular pretty much anywhere else. But that's, I think, a big part of what's created pretendianism.
Yeah, no, it's true.
People's egotistical, narcissistic, vain need to be perceived as hot or popular, or like everyone kind of has that like selfish need to be like I want people to see me in a good way. I want followers. I want fame. It's like kind of gets addicting to be like, oh, I want likes and views and then money and this and that, because it's sold to us by popular media.
Yeah.
Like you have to be a successful influencer. And a big way to do that is to fake things. And I'm not surprised that there's pretendians, because it's a cushy gig.
Yeah.
It's so profitable. Why wouldn't you? I thought about it the other day and I was like, you know what would be so funny if we did a social experiment and I created a fake influencer using like AI or something, and they're a white person, but I passed them off. Knowing all I know about Indigenous culture, I could probably make a very convincing like fake person who was a pretendian and start making content of
Why
them.
am I here for this?
No. But this is like a cool experiment.
Yeah.
And being like, I wonder how far this fake account claiming, and I would purposely make sure that it had all the red flags of a pretendian, where I'd claim like 4 different nations. I'd be super white looking. I wouldn't have a status card. I wouldn't have kind of anything like that. I wouldn't have any living Indigenous family members. I would just have stories, and I would just be really good at telling stories. And I would be dating a Native person, probably come up with a fake partner, and then just like know the language and know the songs, and like have co-opted stories that I've heard from the community and co-opt my own stories from my personal life, and like see how far this account could get before someone was like, you're not actually Native. Because I feel like it would just do well, because people don't question it enough. People aren't like, if you know what to look for, then you know what to look for. And you can clock it immediately.
Literally.
But for people who don't, they take it at face value, and that's fine. But maybe I think as a Indigenous social media, we kind of all need to be a little bit more, let's do our due diligence when it comes to
more aware.
Yeah, when it comes to putting individuals into leadership positions, into positions where they have access to youth, where they have access to large amounts of money, or they're being asked to come in and speak about specific things in regard to trauma in particular.
Yeah.
Why is a pretendian coming in and talking about living on the res and like trauma from boil water advisories, or like, skyrocketing suicide rates, or, anything like that, or like language reclamation? Like if these organizations did their due diligence and like verified ahead of time, I'm sure that most of them wouldn't be on these panels.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like, I feel like our community is just, we're it's almost too nice sometimes, because if somebody's going to come up to us and be like, oh, like, especially like an elder, and they come up and say they're Indigenous and like have this whole story, like an elder's not going to be like question them, like they're going to share that wisdom and share that knowledge. And unfortunately, those people just exploit that, and they take advantage of these nice people and these community leaders who are sharing knowledge, and just really, it's just sad. Like, I think of them and I'm just like heartbroken. I'm like, girl, like, especially when people who are like making like thousands of dollars, from
hundreds of
thousands of dollars, and making like from knowledge that they got from an elder that's not even from their region. It just baffles me. I can't.
Have you heard of the term popcorn elder?
I feel like I have, but I need you to elaborate more on that.
I don't even really know why they're called popcorn elders. I know what they are, but I don't know where this like popcorn thing came from. I think it's maybe because they started this little seed, and then all of a sudden they're just like this thing just came out of nowhere. Maybe that's where it's from. Don't quote me on that, but I worked in nonprofit for 10 plus years, many, many, many years. So I know the whole urban Indian nonprofit culture, the environment.
Oh yeah.
It's so crazy. It's one of the most volatile places to work.
That industry, I find, is very...
Oh, that's pretendian like breeding grounds.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a whole thing.
Education, music / artistry / social media, healthcare, and nonprofit. That's where you're going to find them all. They are well rooted in those areas, and they get hired because no one cares. But yeah, so what I've noticed is popcorn elders are elders that have become professional elders, where that's their job, is to come in and do a land acknowledgement for 2 minutes, say a really cheesy quick prayer that they copied and pasted offline, and then they collect a $5,000 honorarium and go home. That's kind of what it's become. And I really hope people don't take this the wrong way and think that I'm like calling down elders. I'm really not. I'm calling down specific non-Indigenous elders who I have literally seen in the community, who I know are not Indigenous, who have gathered kind of like a sponge. I would say it's like a spider web. People come along and they just like get caught in this web, and then the person like siphons their like stories and their teachings. And this also sounds like I'm gonna single some people out, but I've noticed in Ontario specifically and in the GTA, a lot of Métis elders and one of them was on the news recently. His name's Bear or something. I don't know. But he was giving out. He was like a really established elder in Toronto, and he was giving out. He was like smudging people, blessing them, giving out spirit names.
Oh my God, yeah, I seen that actually. Yeah, I remember that.
I remember there was this one clip on CBC, and they were talking about him being outed as a pretendian, and he was like using this eagle fan, and he was like patting down this youth, and he was like, "You need to smudge your armpits. Your armpits need smudging. This is a teaching I got from so and so elder. They said that your armpits carry a lot of wisdom and trauma and da da da." He just was like babbling about crazy things I've never even heard of, and it's so funny when it's like a Métis elder, but yet they're giving like Mi'kmaq teachings, they're giving Anishinaabe teachings, they're giving Cree teachings, they're giving Blackfoot teachings, and it's like, girl, like, damn, if you're gonna be a pretendian, choose one, make it consistent. Yeah. This is crazy. And so that's why I call it like buffet elder, popcorn elder, where they pop out of nowhere and they have all of these things that they've heard. Like, I could do it. I've heard so many teachings that I could just go around and just co-opt and invite me in. I'll make shit up off the top of my head. Like, I'm a good improver, you know? I'll come in and give you 5 teachings about whatever you want. Yeah. Just pay me. And then I go home and I go to the next gig the next day. And then I'm doing land acknowledgements. All I need to know is a few sentences in the language. People aren't going to know. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen that episode of, I can't even remember which show it is, but he goes up and he's like counting to 10 in Cree. He's like,
wait, what? This is a video?
No, it's a television show.
No.
Oh, I think it might have been Rutherford Falls. I don't know if it's Rutherford Falls.
I feel like are you thinking of Parks and Rec?
It might have been Parks and Rec.
When he and like...
He's like, they're like, you're Native American, go up and do a prayer. And he's like, okay. And he goes up and he's like, yeah, like, in the crater, bless these people. And he's like, hey. And he starts doing like just the most random things off the top of his head. People are like, yes. Like really taking it seriously, right? Because they don't want to be disrespectful. But they have no idea that he's just clowning them. And that's why I made a TikTok. Remember when I made that TikTok of Auntie? And she's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do a land acknowledgement. And she's like, no, dawinan, smarto, nana skumta nana. Wow, just give the land back, fuckers. Because it's me making fun of that situation where like you can literally be any older person and just go in and be like, yeah, I'm an elder. And people won't question it. And that is so harmful to our communities. And in that CBC segment, I remember that person Bear who was like getting called out. They brought in his mentor, who was a young woman who was like being mentored under him and like learning his teachings. And they interviewed her and they were like, how do you feel about this? And she was like crying. She was like, I feel like I wasted the last 3 years of my life. She's like, now where do I even start from? How do I know what was real and what wasn't? And like, yeah, she just had a complex.
That's the thing too. Like all of these elders have people underneath them, you know? And like when those people get called out, like imagine how all those youth and people who were kind of like viewing them as this pillar of like knowledge, you know, like imagine how they feel, like that betrayal that obviously is going to cause some trust issues in their lives. Like I've definitely been in a situation like that where that happened to me, where, you know, because growing up, we didn't really have much Indigenous representation, you know, not until like in recent years. And especially doing the work that I did, I didn't really have somebody that I could kind of look towards or really just like get inspired by until I seen this one influencer who was working with like a lot of amazing brands and doing a lot of work within fashion.
This is the one you introduced me to, right? When I first moved here?
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy because I viewed this person as like a hero, you know, like they were like one of my biggest inspirations. Like I remember first like moving to Toronto and like working, I was going to school for fashion and business. And then I got an internship underneath this company, underneath Manitoba Mucklucks, and was really just like super happy to be like working for an Indigenous brand and then seeing this Indigenous influencer person, celebrity, I guess you could say, who was like doing such amazing work and like really just like that big inspiration to me, you know. And you know, there's like this quote where you're like, never meet your heroes. when I think of this one person, that's the one quote that comes to mind, because I unfortunately met my hero. I became friends with my hero. You know, I got mentored by my hero. We did so many projects by this hero, just to kind of go to, like, now they're exposed as like a pretendian, allegedly, you know, and like, it just like hurts. So like, it's kind of crazy, you know, because like, it just makes you think like, damn, like everything's just a lie. And like, what about all of like those, you reflect back on all those times that you spent together, and like the wisdom that I personally shared with them, you know, like coming from, because I grew up in the res, I grew up with culture, like I grew up with a lot of teachings, you know, where I come from. And I openly shared that to this person because they were Indigenous, you know. I thought they could relate and thought they would be cool, only for them to just kind of exploit that for me. It was kind of weird. And another instance where I was actually friends with somebody, you know, here in Toronto as well. Yeah, you know this person. You
know this person.
Yeah,
I was on set with this person.
Yeah, like they were, like, I remember thinking about Toronto rallies and like anything about Indigenous rights or advocating for Indigenous rights or climate change and all this stuff. There was this one person that was always on the front lines and just advocating as a Métis person, and really just advocating for Indigenous peoples and, you know, for the land, and just really
beating their drum,
having a drum and being in the first, like, front center, you know, like
with the
megaphone, like being interviewed all the time by all these people. And really just like, I seen this person, they were like, you know, identifying as Métis and just like really proud of that. And like, I obviously was like not in a position where I was going to question it, you know, like I'm not Métis, so I don't know how like the Métis membership kind of works. So I wasn't going to be like, oh, you're not Métis, like, where's your Métis card? You know, like, I obviously wasn't questioned that. Somebody's going to tell me they're Métis and they're like a friend of mine, and I develop some sort of trust. I'm going to trust them to believe that they're telling me the truth. I always think of that with my friends. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Apparently, they were not Métis at all, or were just like uneducated about their own true identity. I ended up casting them in like one of my campaigns and like promoted them basically as like this big advocate, a Métis advocate who's doing such amazing work for our communities. I'm not gonna like they were a nice person, you know, like they were such a good person. We were all friends, you know, and like and then comes out later that they're actually not Métis and not Indigenous. Like I remember feeling like betrayed, like the same thing, you know, like feeling betrayed and just feeling like, damn, like I got exploited once again, you know, like, and in that circumstance, like kind of like at that point I was like, okay, like how do I protect myself now from all of this, you know? Like I like to think I'm a genuinely nice person, you know, like I love meeting new people. I beg to differ.
We're gonna need to roll the tape.
But like I love meeting new people and just like learning about them and learning about their stories, and especially like where they come from, you know, and like just getting to know them as a person. And I'm not gonna like ever question somebody, you know, when
you're the kind of person who, I've noticed this about you, when you meet somebody, everyone gets the same blank slate with you.
Yeah.
Regardless of like if someone was just shit talking that person to you like a few days prior, you're going to give somebody the benefit of the doubt and let them paint that picture for you in front of you.
Yeah. No.
So everyone gets the same respect.
I usually always do that because, like you said, like there's certain people that I've met where I've heard they're not like really good people. But like I'm like that type of person. Yeah. Like you mentioned, I always give a blank slate, you know, like.
You're that person to me. Everyone hates you. And I'm like, he's actually not that bad. I've let you paint that picture and it looks crazy.
It's just a big blob.
Oh, it's just like those horror kids who just scribble and just write demons.
Me, the ring. Samara.
Yeah, I don't even know why I stuck around.
Right. Oh my God. But no, like I totally believe that, you know, if you have drama with somebody else and I've heard about that drama, you know, like that's between you and that person, you know, and like I don't know. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, I'm not one to shut people out right away, but bitch, if you fuck with me, I don't mind shutting you out. Yeah, I don't mind gutting. And I also don't mind sharing my story or sharing my truth about certain situations, you know?
Yeah, you're allowed to. That's your right.
Yep, I'm allowed to talk about.
You also brought up a really good point about one thing that I don't think anybody talks about enough, and I wish people talked about it more, is the outcome, the consequences, and the feelings of being somebody directly involved with the pretendian. Because it's happened to me a couple of times now. A few. More than a few, actually. And at varying degrees. But the one feeling that, and I don't know if I'm wrong for this, but I kind of feel like it's very similar to getting cheated on by a partner.
Yep.
It's the same sort of feelings. Maybe not as intense, but feeling betrayed, feeling led on, feeling taken advantage of,
your trust,
feeling vulnerable, feeling confused, feeling like, why me? Feeling like, what else did you do? That just breakdown of trust and feeling taken advantage of and feeling like you can't believe anything this person says. Yeah, crazy. What a horrible feeling. And no one talks about like the aftercare that's needed when you're coworkers with this person, or you go into business with this person, or you form like really close friendships, and it's based off of things that you guys relate with each other. Like, for example, you and I have a lot of things about each other that we really understand to the core of our being. That's why we connect. But if you do that with somebody who's made up that story, and then you find out that none of it's true, you've given this person tons of yourself, and they've given you an empty shell back that you believed was something else. It doesn't matter if it's a romantic relationship or not. That feels like being cheated on. It feels, it's betrayal, it's distrust, it's dishonest. And
it obviously fucks a person up.
Well, yeah. And how, like, why aren't we talking about the aftercare that's needed when healing from finding out that somebody has lied about their entire genealogy or their heritage or their family? I dated a pretendian.
Oh my God, that is completely...
And I don't, here's the thing. I haven't really said that out loud to a ton of people because I'm still processing it myself, really. I'm coming to this conclusion on my own. It's not like this person was called out. They weren't exposed. There aren't people whispering about this person. This person's not really well known. But I dated them for 3 or 4 months, and it was fun. We had a good time. They were really sweet. But the thing is that the entire time, I was never not under the impression that this person was Indigenous. In fact, it was like this person was like more Indigenous than me, in the sense that they were like, yeah, I'm Ojibwe, I'm Métis, I'm Cree, and I'm Mi'kmaq. And I'm like, cool, amazing. Like, that's a lot of places to be from. Right? That's a lot of nations. And I'm like, cool. Like, from where? Like, I'm curious. Like, that's really awesome. And I went into this so open-hearted, like, no doubts at all. It wasn't even in my mind at the time to be like suspicious, because they came to me in a way that was like, they slid into my DMs and were like, oh, you're really hot. And like, whatever. That's how we started talking. But they're like, yeah, I'm studying at the university, like language reclamation. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. If anyone knows me, they know I love languages. It's one of my biggest things. And so obviously that was very attractive to me. And they just seemed really intelligent and really emotionally intelligent. And that was really attractive as well. They were very cute too. So I was like, bonus, like, love talking to this person.
I remember you bringing them around a friend group for a couple times too. And they were very, very sweet.
Yeah, nice. Like very like golden retriever energy, like just happy to be there, like really sweet to all my friends for the most part. And yeah, I don't know why it never clued in. Maybe I was dickmatized. you know that term. I think I had like rose-colored glasses because I really enjoyed this relationship. While it was happening, I was like, this is fun. Like, I really enjoy this. It was like healing for me to be in that relationship. I learned a lot about myself. We weren't boyfriends, but we dated and we hung out a lot. And he came and visited and stayed at my place for a bit. And we went for dinners and trips and whatever. So I remember specifically this one instance where I brought this individual to
The mic is making noises. I'm sorry if the mic is picking that up.
Can you shut the fuck up? Is it over? Is it done?
Is it done?
Yeah, so I'm like a really, holy, this is gonna sound real fucking cocky to say. I'm involved a lot in the Two-Spirit community.
Fucking cocky.
I'm involved a lot in the Two-Spirit community.
But you've been that way even before, like,
yeah, way before
social media.
Yeah, this has always been something I've been doing since I was like literally 19 years old. But I'm a prominent person in the Two-Spirit community, meaning that I attend a lot of international Two-Spirit gatherings. Like, I'm at almost every big Two-Spirit gathering that's out there. I know everybody, and when I go there, I'm respected. I have a good name in the community. I try to do a lot of good work, and I'm kind, or so I've been told. And so I bring this person into, because this person has not really traveled much, like even out of the province. And I remember one of the old organizations that I used to be a director for, they were sponsoring youth to go to this international Two-Spirit gathering. And so I thought, wouldn't it be a great thing if I advocated to have me and this person I was dating attend this Two-Spirit gathering and have it sponsored, which means that he wouldn't have to pay anything. His food, his travel, his accommodation, everything would be paid. What a great opportunity, right? Would never have had that opportunity had I not had the placement in the community that I do. And so I thought I was giving this gift. It really was a gift. And so we went, and this person was like crying every day at the conference with happy tears of like just loving being there and meeting tons of elders, tons of Two-Spirit people, meeting like drag queens and meeting like cultural helpers, meeting James and Anthony, and like being in ceremony with them, and being in ceremony for the first time ever.
You took this motherfucker to ceremony.
I did.
That's crazy. I mean, like, you obviously didn't know, but like, just like,
well, I brought this person into ceremony. I remember we held hands in the lodge. That's crazy.
Okay, that's fucked.
Okay, but here's the thing.
That's goals, but like goals to the wrong person.
No, it was very romantic. But the thing is I have no problem bringing people into ceremony.
Yeah.
I brought white people into ceremony.
I was just going to say,
too.
Maybe he needed ceremony. Non-Indigenous people come into ceremony all the time.
Yeah, there's lots of guests, like especially growing up when I was a kid, when I was working as an Escapio, we had like people from Japan coming to like be in ceremony. So it wasn't like it's not like only Indigenous people.
Yeah, like even in our region, we always have nurses come to sweat lodges, doctors and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really common. And so really nothing was done wrong. The only thing is that it was under false pretenses.
Yep.
I was doing it because I wanted this person to have that experience as a young Indigenous, quote unquote, Two-Spirit person, because I genuinely believed he was a reconnecting Indigenous person. And had he just been a white boy, and had we just gone into ceremony together as me being Indigenous and him being my like little white boyfriend, that would have been so wholesome and like totally fine, and no one would have had an issue with it.
I think of, when you just brought that up, I thought of our friend Joe Marie and Cedric. Yeah, because Joe Marie brings Cedric to ceremony
white man
all the time. Yeah.
And like I said, you don't gotta lie to kick it.
Exactly.
You can just be a cool ass ally. We gotta put that on a shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so the issue is that he only got that sponsorship because I advocated that he was Indigenous.
Yeah.
He would never have gotten sponsored if he was a white person. And I brought him into ceremony under the pretense that he was Indigenous and that I was helping him to reconnect with something, to some type of roots. And because it was his first time in ceremony, and because I was literally giving him teachings, private teachings of like what I have learned through years and years and years of hard work, of like genuinely hard work and connection to community. Things that I didn't tell anybody, things that are so sacred to me. And so when he and I eventually split, we stopped talking. Like, we kind of both knew we were never gonna, well, we had a conversation. We're not gonna date. That's not what we're gonna do. We're not gonna be official. We're not gonna start a relationship, but we're gonna just have fun.
Yeah.
And so when our fun came to an end and I was like, okay, I gotta like cut you out and we gotta go our separate ways. It didn't end in the best way, but we were cordial. It was like, whatever. And I still wasn't even thinking he was a pretendian at that time. I literally genuinely didn't think, and it wasn't until like friends of ours, like in our little group, were just like, hey, that was weird. And I was like, what? And they're like, we were uncomfortable. And I was like, you were? And they're like, yeah, Kai, X, Y, Z, da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, actually, wait, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, oh no, that makes sense. Oh my God. And they're like, dumbass. And I'm like, fuck, you're right. I was too busy just like living in the moment and having fun. I had the wool pulled over my eyes and I didn't even, because I'm critical, you know, I'm like critical of other people, but I think because he was close to me and I cared about him.
You were dickmatized, girl.
Yeah. And so afterwards, I really felt, I felt disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like tons of anger because knowing this person as well as I did during that time, I know that they weren't genuinely trying to, I don't think that they were genuinely trying to deceive people. I think that they genuinely believed stories from their family about their heritage and about their family and about their grandmother. And they weren't out here, you know, collecting grant money and taking up space. So in my mind, it's like, no harm done, right?
They did take up space. There could have been another Indigenous youth in that lodge.
They took up a bit of space. I'm partly to blame for that, but I didn't know. And,
yeah.
The thing is that I was disappointed and I felt, betrayed. I felt like, why didn't I see this? This was so obviously clear to me. And I just hope that this person, if they are genuinely Indigenous, that it's been years, like do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're blonde hair, blue eyed, pale skin, have not once in your life ever been perceived as Indigenous. You don't have any living Indigenous family members. You have no nation that claims you, yet you claim 4 of them. How and why? And why? That's the biggest thing. It's like, why? Why is it so important for you to be Indigenous?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you making this story that you heard from your grandmother or whoever the main basis of what you identify as? Claim all the other things. You're probably 99% white. Even if you are 1% Indigenous, why is that 1% your entire personality? What happened to all the other things? Are those just disappeared? Like,
that's very true. Because I feel like we always talk about this, but somebody who is very good at like not trying, like focusing on just like that 1% or like that 10%, whatever they have, but ensuring that they're kind of embracing all of their identities is our friend Haley. Haley is so proudly mixed Filipino and mixed reconnecting Cree and is very vocal and open about that. And I just love the way that she embraces both sides of her identity. And then I think of other people who are, you know, half French or half Cree or half German and half Ojibwe, and they're just strictly embracing their Ojibwe heritage. Like, why not embrace your German heritage? You know, there's culture there. Why not embrace your French heritage? There's culture there as well. I love French food.
Bonjour.
Escargot.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Stupid, but it's true. You know, like I don't understand why people just embrace who they are. You know, where they come from. They're just be true to yourself, you know?
It's starting to feel like a cool kids club that people want to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like it because
Yeah.
our culture is not some weird club to be a part of.
Yeah.
You get like a membership and you're proud to be a part of the gang. Like this is our lives.
Mm-hmm.
These are our like people, our communities.
Our teachings, our values.
And when push comes to shove and when things start getting rough, like for example, MMIW, Every Child Matters, like Idle No More, or if we talk about like boil water advisories or like suicide or like literally any kind of really big issue that happens, they're not experiencing those things.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get any of that. And that's where my anger comes from.
Yeah.
And like we said earlier, like pretendianism and like identity fraud is like such a complex thing. There's so many emotions. One of my biggest emotions is anger.
Mm-hmm.
And I leave space when I talk to people, and I leave space for them to be angry because they're allowed to be angry because it pisses me off.
Yep.
And I'm not afraid to say that.
Mm-hmm.
And people are afraid to say that, oh, this fucking gets me mad.
Yep.
Like, no, I have boiling rage when I think about my mom who was literally beaten, starved, raped, like forced to do so many things but be herself.
Mm-hmm.
And then that gets passed on to me. You know, while I'm braiding my mom's hair and cooking for her, and she's telling me these just horrific stories about how hard it was for her to be a little Indian, a little Indian girl. And then I see these white girls running around with headdresses, calling themselves in like Indian princess and all these things. It's just infuriating. And I've been called laterally violent before because of it. I don't think it's laterally violent to demand accountability when we live in a day and age where there's so much racism, and we live in a day and age where women are going missing and murdered 10 times the national average rate, where we have states of emergency because we have cluster suicides in the north, where our Indigenous youth are so hurt and broken that they choose not to be alive anymore. None of those pretendians are dealing with those issues.
No.
And that gets me mad. And so I'm sorry, but if I'm going to be a part of a campaign, if I'm going to be a part of a project, and they say, hey, you're going to be on a panel with this person, and I know that person is not Indigenous, and I know that they're lying, I'll say no. I'll say no, this is an issue, and I'm choosing not to do this. If you continue to work with this person, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the time. And I think that's a bit of our role as a two-spirit person, is to really call those things out and to hold people accountable. It's hard to hold people accountable.
Especially when they don't want to take accountability for themselves.
Well, you get labeled as a villain. You get labeled as a bully. We have a good friend, Deanne Hupfield. She's quite vocal in online spaces about pretendians. And even like the Race Shifters account, which has come under a lot of fire because of the way they go about it, which just cannot rank.
No, I agree. There's some people who just go about it the wrong way.
Yeah, but I think you see this argument all the time when it comes to pretendians. It's like people are like, it's not laterally violent to ask you where you're from. We're proud of it. It's how we connect. There's a reason people say that, is because it's true. It's the first thing. Like if you grow up in Indigenous communities, you go to like a gathering, you go anywhere, and you shake hands with somebody. Hey, what's your name? Oh, I'm Kai. Immediately. Oh, who's your family? Where are you guys from? That's how we connect. That's how we base each other. That's how we that's how we connect.
It's basic protocol.
It's just a natural thing. And you can really see when you go up to somebody and you're like, hey, where are you from? And it's just, they see it as like a venomous attack. It's like, why? Why is that such an attack to you? It's okay to say, I don't know. I don't know where I'm from. That's okay.
Yeah. And there's people who will help you on that journey. You know, people who want to support you on that journey. That's completely fine.
If you don't know, you don't know. You don't need to pretend that you grew up on the res. You don't need to pretend that you speak the language or all of these things. If you are an Indigenous person, it'll come out. You will be able to reconnect and find. But I just feel like, do yourself a favor and don't skip ahead to step 32 when you need to start at step 1, which is, who am I? Before you even start telling people this is who I am, you can say, let me find out first who I am. Because for now, I don't know. And saying I don't know is okay.
Yep.
You don't need to start a makeup company the next day called Indigenous Beauty and start collecting money for it. No. Don't do that.
It's like taking up public speaking gigs, and
you don't need to become an Indigenous drag queen.
You don't need to become an influencer.
Yeah, you don't need to do that. We don't need to become an Indigenous pop star.
Yeah.
Or a director. Or an actor. Oh my God, I just found out one of my favorite actors is not Indigenous. Literally this morning. I found out this morning. My friend texted me. She's like, yeah, everybody in the industry knows this person's not Indigenous. And I'm like,
literally just recently too, in the fashion industry, this big model who I thought was like doing such amazing.
Oh my God, was it me who told you that?
Yeah, it was you. I was shook because I was like, damn, this person is like in a lot of high fashion campaigns.
You've seen this person at the mall.
Yeah.
Like at the mall a lot.
I've
like
definitely promoted them on my social media too.
Well, you thought they were fine as fuck.
Yeah. No. I
still do?
No, I actually don't think that
you don't?
No, they're not my type. I thought
you're not into pretendians.
That, yes, that's your type. Am I right?
You really ate that. You really ate me up with that.
really gagged you with that one. Wig snatched. Headdress snatched.
Fuck.
Fucking rig. Oh my god. I feel like this topic, we could probably go on all day about this because it's really just such a topic that really affects us in so many different ways and affects our communities in so many different ways, and is still such a big prominent issue within our communities and within not only within Indigenous communities but across all cultures across the world. You know, there's people like this who are just harvesting knowledge and harvesting all of this teachings and just languages and identities for their own gain, when in reality it's not who they are. You know, and I just think of that one song from Just Friends, written by Joyce, Chris's mom. Be yourself, be yourself. Be
Please
yourself.
stop.
I love Just Friends. But literally, like, why are you going to just base your whole identity off a complete fabrication, a complete lie, when you could just be your motherfucking self?
You ain't got to lie to kick it and be a cool ass ally.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've said that 5 times now.
Yeah, I have a lot of cool white friends. You could be one of them.
It's true. I always tell people, I'm like, you know what? If I found out, like, hypothetically, tomorrow I get a phone call and it's like, hey, did you know your great grandma was Chinese?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd be like, really? Cool. It would mean nothing to me.
And then the next day he would be on a panel about Chinese identity. Just kidding.
I'd be like, stop Asian hate. We've experienced enough. No, but the crazy thing is that if I was a pretendian or identity fraud, that would be ammo.
Yeah.
I would be like, ooh, what can I do with this? And then the next day it's like, oh my God, I'm a part of all of these random Asian Facebook groups. I like change my bio to be like Chinese Indigenous, like start speaking. Ironically, I speak Mandarin, but I would like learn Chinese. I'd like go back to the home country and like start telling people I'm Chinese and like really making it a big part of my identity, when in reality, I can't even confirm that my great grandma was Chinese because she's not alive and I don't know that side of my family and no one can prove it. So like literally no proof. Never grew up once thinking I was Chinese at all. Never grew up in Chinese culture, have no living Chinese family members. So why, like, oh my God. And then I would start like a Chinese album and start singing in Chinese and market myself as a half Chinese person. Doesn't that sound insane?
It's crazy.
That's what all those pretendians are doing.
You literally just reminded me of this message that I got from an old roommate that I had when I was going to college. And he messaged me and was like, oh, like I recently just found out like I'm half Ojibwe, or like I always knew this, but I didn't like have, you know, he didn't have access, I guess, to his community or to the culture and stuff like that. And then he was like, but I really want to start talking about this and being invited to all these events. And I really want to do what you do and speak to Indigenous youth about my identity. And I'm like, honey, you just found this out like 2 days ago and you already want to start.
Let's pump the brakes.
Yeah. Like I was honest with him, you know, I did tell him that. I was like, honestly, I don't think that's the route you should be going down. Like if you think, you know, you're Indigenous or have claims to a community or a nation, like it's up to you to do the homework for yourself, you know, go into your family lineages, speak to all your family members, you know, try and find that information for yourself before you decide to wanting to be like a big spokesperson on mixed Indigenous ancestry. You know, like there's work that you need to be doing personally and spiritually, honestly, you know, because being Indigenous is not just a thing we could just say. Like it's a very way of being and a way of living and very ingrained into our spiritual beliefs, you know. And I think it's really important to just do that homework for yourselves before you're deciding to take up space and take up money. And if you're listening to this, you know what I said. Just kidding. But yeah,
And I want
I
to...
think we need to wrap this up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I have one last thing to say, and this is something that I've been thinking about making a video on TikTok, but I just never got around to it. But just me being really upfront and honest about my identity and my journey, because I've been pretty vocal in the past about the fact that I don't know who my dad is.
Yeah, you've always been honest.
He left when I was born. Don't know anything about him. Don't know his name. Literally nothing about him. My mom died when I was literally a child. And none of my mom's sisters have any clear answer to who my dad is.
Mm-hmm.
And I have tried and I've tried and I've tried to get... I've gotten like 5 different names. Your dad's Richard, your dad's Steven, your dad's this person, your dad's Hungarian, your dad's Asian, he's a Filipino guy. Like, I've had everybody tell me everything in the book. So I went and I did 2 DNA tests, and they both came up pretty well the same, where I'm like split down the middle, where it's like 52% European, 48% Indigenous American or New World American or whatever the fuck it's called. And the thing is, is that somebody could argue, well, why don't you embrace your white side?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, because I don't have anything to embrace.
Yeah.
Like, my dad left me. I was raised by a fully Indigenous family, as Indigenous as it gets, and I've never known anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, for example, my dad was very proudly Parisian French, or really hardcore Russian, or something. I would be excited to be embracing that side of my identity just as much as my Indigenous identity, which would also mean a lot to me because that's how I grew up.
Yep.
But I just never got that opportunity. And so I would be like a reconnecting white person, really is what it would be. But I just don't have anything. I have no other experience in my life that I've experienced to give me any other kind of life than I've had.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any other life. And that's why I can only speak to the life that I have, which is the family that has raised me, the family that gave birth to me, and the family that claims me and loves me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I knew who my dad was. I literally am thinking about hiring a private investigator to find out who my birth dad is, because judging by my DNA, he's from like 4 different places. And so I'm like, damn, this would be really interesting to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big part of who I am. It's half of who I am.
Yeah.
And it's just been a big question mark, just this blank space that I just have no idea about. And it eats me up because I know you love your dad and I know you love your dad's side and all that kind of stuff. I wish I had that. I wish I could be like, yeah, I have like a dad and like other sets of grandparents and cousins and maybe other siblings, like half siblings on his side. Like, it just would unlock so much life for me. And I just never had that. And so
I feel like that'll definitely...
I don't really identify as like a mixed person. It's hard for me to identify as a mixed person when I don't know what I'm really like mixed with, that culture. I do identify that I'm like obviously biracial, but the reason I only identify as Indigenous is because of what I just mentioned. It's because it's my only experience I've had. But if I meet my dad one day, I'll gladly put whatever ethnicity he is
in your
right in my Instagram bio. It's gonna say German, Irish, whatever, Indigenous.
And I can't wait for that day.
I can't wait either. Dad, if you're out there, I miss you. Every episode. Dad, I
come
miss you.
home.
Dad, you there? Can I borrow $20? Did you give me this curly hair? Is this why I have this big ass head?
Thomas, why'd your dad leave?
Hey, Thomas. Or hey,
Victor.
Heard your dad left. Did he hate you?
Rank. Oh my God. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Kai. And what a topic, literally. I feel like this topic really just is such a multifaceted issue that dives into a lot of different things.
It's definitely going to be another episode.
Oh, yeah. I feel like we
didn't even talk about colorism, which huge. I also want to talk more about reconnecting Indigenous people, because that could literally be an episode on its own. And then I also want to talk about lateral violence. And there's just so many things. I want to talk about music theft. I want to talk about influencing. I want to talk about specific examples of like other pretendians that we've dealt with who have been really awful to us. But we just couldn't get to it. I feel like we've been talking for 2 hours at this point.
Yeah, like this is a really big topic, and we have a lot of information. I mean, just a lot of things to say about it, for
I
sure.
just have a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
I want to bake a big cake.
This is probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. But I feel like it's an important topic to talk about. You know, I'm glad we were able to dive into it and share our personal experiences with it, because I feel like, you know, not a lot of people do. And when people do talk about pretendianism and identity fraud within Indigenous communities, it's in a setting, it's always like on a social media setting and a place where, why are you looking like that?
Fuck, your arms are hairy.
Ew.
Sorry, I got distracted. Werewolf.
I always think of Bretman
You're a
Rock.
Sam Squatch.
Oh, Bretman Rock also has hairy arms too, but his are hairier than mine.
Yes. I hope that nobody was like offended by what we were talking about today.
And if you were, reflect and ask yourself why you were offended. Because maybe it's projection, but also if we
guilty conscience,
could be.
But here's the thing: I love reconnecting Indians. I just want to let you guys know.
Yeah, we have some.
For the record, I love reconnecting Indians,
and we help people. You know,
and I love white allies.
Yep, we love white people.
And listen, you can say I don't love reconnecting people. I brought a pretendian into ceremony. Okay, I think I've done enough. Done enough damage. I need to stop. But no, for real, I don't want to like apologize for any of the views that we have, because just as much as other people get to have their opinions on this issue and whatever way that their emotions manifest, that's the same for us. Like we're giving our opinions, we're giving our lived experiences and our genuine reactions to this phenomenon that is hurting so many people in the community, specifically artists. Like, we're artists. We make a living doing gigs. That's the artist life, is like one job to the next. You never know when you're getting hired again. And you'll bet your ass that it sucks when you know that a pretendian, a white girl who put fucking war paint on herself and called herself Isque, has taken another... Oh. has taken another... I wasn't expecting that. Sorry, Freudian slip. No, but for real. Has taken another job and taken another grant, and has at this point taken hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of money that like really should be going to artists who need it, who deserve it. You don't deserve it. You're not Indigenous. So I will never apologize for saying things like that. If it hurts your feelings, take that up with Creator.
Like I said, do some self-reflection. Could be something in here.
Well, also, I just want to talk about my makeup. I wanted to go for a smoky eye today. And then after I saw myself in the viewfinder of the camera, I was like, oh, because I feel like I'm giving like gay Uncle Fester from Addams Family. I'm giving like raccoon. But
it's giving me Rufio from Hook.
Oh, that's so kind.
I love that. I loved his whole style in that. His hair was everything. Rufio. I love that. Thank you. That's crazy. All right, let's wrap this up.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 2. Wow, we're on episode 2 already. That's so exciting. Of the Real Rank podcast.
And we got pretty ranked today.
We did get kind of ranked today, not gonna lie. But definitely make sure you are liking and subscribing and sharing with your friends. We're really trying to get this podcast up and off the ground, and we just have so much fun doing it. It's such a passion project.
Love talking.
You can support us for completely free just by spreading the word, sharing some love, and I can't wait for episode 3.
And I knew the next topic is gonna be a hot one too. Hot topic. We got the hot topics on this podcast.
Okay, everybody. Ishnish Pinamad, thank you for listening.
And
this is Kai and Scott signing off.
Bye.